Hello everyone and welcome back to another video with my cheap Range Rover L322, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, and for the first time for myself I'm going to be tallying up what I've spent running this Range Rover in the short amount of time that I have owned it. Now this is literally the first time I've done this. Obviously I'm aware that I've bought a lot of parts for this car, but that's simply buy. I've never actually kind of sat down and broke it down and added up the final figure. So today I'm going to be doing that and revealing the age-old question, is there really such thing as a cheap Range Rover? So pull up a chair, get comfortable, because in this video I'm going to be revealing every penny that I have spent on this L322. Now I just want to stress, this video isn't me slagging off the Range Rover L322, and I'm getting a lot of stick from the community saying that I'm giving the Range Rover a bad name by making these videos. I just want to clarify, I absolutely love this car. I bought it for £900, so obviously I'm expecting some faults, but I've gone along with them. I believe I'm doing God's work keeping a car like this on the road. I just feel it's a labour of love, really. I'm keeping this car from the scrapyard and keeping it going. So if you watch my first video with this car, you will know I bought this car for £900. Now at the time it had no MOT and it had a rather alarming coolant leak, so that is where I'm going to start there. But first, a big thank you to today's video sponsor, Click Mechanic. If you are tired of spending hours and overpaying at garages, I've got something for you, and that is Click Mechanic's easy to use website, where you can get things such as car servicing, diagnostics, MOTs, tyres or general repairs all in one place, simply by entering your car's registration and your postcode. Here's 3 reasons why Click Mechanic is a game changer. You can book in line in seconds and get an instant price with no hidden fees. Save up to 47% compared to franchise garages. The mechanic comes to you, so you can keep your feet up, relax and enjoy your time at home whilst they do the hard work. On the Click Mechanic website, simply enter your registration as well as your postcode and click Get My Instant Price. This will bring up all options for your car, such as repairs, diagnostics, servicing and MOT, tyres, and what I probably could have done with a pre-purchase inspection. In my instance, I'm going to click repairs, and here you can see a brake discs and pads replacement. It's given me an instant price as well, which £336 I don't think is too bad. So once you have entered all your personal details, scroll down and it will give you the soonest availability you can get your car booked in. And look at that, I can get it booked in for next day. So if I click 8 to 10 AM, because that is the most convenient time for me, and scroll down, it will give you an option, is your car drivable if it was to be collected by the mechanic? I've clicked yes. There is a discount code in the description, so click that and thank me later. Huge thank you to Click Mechanic for sponsoring today's video. Right, let's get to it. So let's reel off all the costs and parts for this car that I have paid in the short amount of time I have owned it. I believe I've had it about 3 months now, and here is a stack of paperwork. It might not look much on camera, but trust me, there is an absolute mammoth amount of pages here. But to make my life easier, I have written everything down on a spreadsheet on my phone. So you guys will know by now that this car cost me £900 and it didn't have an MOT at the time I bought it, so say £950 for that. This car also needed a service. Despite what people think about this car being so cheap, it actually has incredible service history, so I wanted to keep that up, so I needed to buy the service parts. Now I feel I have done really well here, because I've bought so many cars over the years. If you buy through confused.com, you get vouchers. So I added them all up and I had £90 worth to spend wherever I liked. So I chose to spend them at Halfords. So all the service parts for this ended up costing me £15. So that is a really good save there. The struts for the bonnet, yeah, they were 30 quid. That was probably the first thing I bought. I feel if this is a Range Rover and I'm going to be working on it quite a lot, then I need the boot to stay up. I bought this car knowing full well it had a very bad coolant leak. That was £123 for the thermostat housing and a couple of pipe elbows, which is in the V of the engine, as well as £40 on coolant. I also filmed this, so make sure you go ahead and watch that video. One of many common faults was a knocking from the front end. This turned out to be control arms. I got some cheap ones, which were only £143. Through some Googling, I was under the impression that the lack of heating coming in the cabin was due to the final resistor. It wasn't, but I bought one that was £16 off eBay. These lovely Defender wheels you can see were a bargain, to be fair, but they were £300. Now that was actually a lot cheaper than just buying a full set of budget tyres for my standard wheels, and this way not only do I have a kind of a unique look now on my L322, but I have a full set of practically new Michelins, which I could not buy for that money. So I'm really pleased with that, and I still have my old wheels which I'm trying to sell, so that wheel kind of bill of £300 will be offset from the sale of my original wheels, so that's a win. Going back to the fact my heating wasn't working in the cabin, that was due to a heater control valve. Yes, that was £18 off eBay. Now that was a massive pain in the arse to fit. That is probably where I should have utilized Click Mechanic and got someone else to fit that, because that was a horrendous job. My parking sensors I believed were faulty, but in a previous video I discovered the rear ones especially, it was due to broken wires, so I have bodged them for now and they still don't work, but I still think there is a faulty sensor or wires on the front bumper, but I'm leaving that for a future video because Bennett Autotech needs to remove the entire front end to replace a few parts, so we will have a look there. So I spent £40 on sensors and I didn't need to, essentially. Wheel nuts. When I went to change the wheels, another common problem, that the wheel nuts swell, so you cannot get the, I think it's a 22 or 23 mil socket on them, so I wasn't able to remove my wheels, essentially. New wheel nuts, £27, also off eBay, absolute bargain. Here is where I got a little bit more cost-effective savvy again, if you like, and I went to a local L322, well, Range Rover breakers, because I needed a new xenon bulb and exhaust brackets, even though I didn't end up using the exhaust brackets. £20. Absolute bargain. Gearbox service, this again is just the parts, £149, along with a fuel filter. Yeah, so £149 plus 30. Another bargain. But you can see how you start to think these are all bargains, but they do add up. This was a result of my own doing. Again, back to the off-roading day with Joel. I didn't follow Bennett Autotech's advice on my front struts. He basically said they were on borrowed time and the airbags had split. But doing that off-road day really pushed them over the edge, and they actually finally failed on me. So for a pair fronts, I managed to get some for £260. Again, very cheap. Whether they last or not, time will tell. Along with this, I also replaced the ride height sensors on the front, £30 for the pair. On here, I've just wrote Molting's 4x4 order of £228. Now, I believe that was the height repair loom sensor, some handbrake shoes, some anti-roll bar bushes, and a right-hand rear caliper. Again, they are waiting to be fitted to the Range Rover, but that was another cost. Turbo pipe for £25. I bought this second-hand off eBay as brand new. They're about 500 quid. Absolutely ridiculous, because during a smoke test we discovered that the turbo pipe is leaking. I believe it's from the turbo to the intercooler, and that's probably why I can hear a chirping sound when I accelerate. Whilst trying to remove the front suspension struts, I damaged a bolt, so I bought 4 new bolts. That was £44. And last but not least, certainly for now, there are plenty of other costs which I'll get into coming up in the future, which I haven't catered for yet. £129 for a new AC condenser, transfer box seal and oil. Last visit at Autotech again, when trying to degas the aircon system, the condenser was found to be at fault and is leaking, as is my transfer box. Also, my power steering pipe is leaking. These are all things we found probably as a result again of that off-roading day. So at the minute my driveway has been ruined by patches of oil from the power steering and the transfer box, so they are more parts waiting to be fitted to this Range Rover. So that is all of the costs up to now for the Range Rover, L322, and bear with me because I appreciate it has been quite a lengthy list. Now, the issue with this car is, when do you know when to stop? Because, I mean, like I mentioned, I absolutely love this car, but at what point does it get to kind of an uneconomical to repair kind of situation, or I'm basically spending more than the value of the car? I mean, what is it worth realistically? Probably £2,500 if I'm lucky, maybe 3. But again, where do you stop? I mean, there's a few things I would like to do to make it nice, such as that scuff on the rear bumper. That could do with painting. There's various bits on the door. There's scuffs on the front bumper. There's a missing kind of fog surround there, which again I did on the off-roading day. You can see it's still muddy from the quarry, and I've got some repairs to do at the bottom of the bumper there. But if I was to go down the route of getting the bumpers painted, what are we talking? Probably £300-400 just for that. There's also a scuff on that mirror. If we go on the inside, this passenger seat isn't too bad, but the state of the drivers is upsetting. Now, I'm really struggling to find a set of these seats, but again, that's probably going to be £100 to get some in the same colour with the black piping in decent condition. There's a few technical glitches in here as well, which I'm yet to get round to. I'm going to add everything up now from my little spreadsheet, plus what also needs doing, such as the side steps, and the brakes are absolutely terrible. Right then guys, the moment of truth, the big number. I have inputted everything into my calculator, and I'm going to push the equals button for the very first time. And as you can probably tell, I am extremely nervous to reveal how much I have spent on this car, despite how much I love it. So my £900 Range Rover now owes me £2,617. I mean, you could argue I could have bought a nice one for that. However, I still think if I was to spend that kind of money on one of these, that none of the parts I have replaced would have been done. So that would have been additional costs. So realistically, I'm fairly happy with that. And if you bear in mind, I still have things like my wheels, which I could sell for £150-200. I could also sell my tow bar. So that does offset the costs ever so slightly. Now, if I just do a couple more calculations on things I need, I'm going to desperately need new discs and pads. I have looked online. These seem to be around £270 for a full set, which I don't think is too bad. Little things, so maybe some new seats, let's say £100, bumper bits. Oh, now if I just leave all the scuffs and just get a surround, what's the surround going to be like? £20, and then I'm also missing a bit in the middle of the grille. I've had a look, they're hefty. I reckon I could get one for about £50. So my total is over £3,057. Just so far, that's even little things, you know. Bear in mind, I still need to run this car. Things will continue to break, I'm sure. So I essentially have a £3,000 Range Rover, but I'm not that bothered. I think it's because I'm truly fixed and I have the L322 bug. So it's just, like I said at the beginning, I'm doing God's work keeping a car like this on the road. Now, back to the whole value of this car. It's probably worth £2,500-3,000 if I'm lucky, maybe even 2. So from a financial perspective, I could potentially be losing money, but that's not why I'm doing it. I'm really thoroughly enjoying owning this car. I'm really enjoying making the content for you guys. But anyway guys, that is where I'm going to end today's video. A massive thank you to you guys for watching the entire L322 series. I hope you have enjoyed it. I certainly love this car and I've really enjoyed making the content for you guys, and trust me, there is plenty more coming with this Range Rover. I feel it's more of a restoration than just simple L322 content. A massive thank you once again to Click Mechanic. Don't forget you can use the description down below to save yourself a bit of cash. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit the big thumbs up button and subscribe, because it really does help me and the channel out, and I can continue making great content with this car. Thank you once again guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.